It is indeed time for India to take off, and I have none other than the man of the moment, Mr. Ashok Gajapati Raju, the Honourable Minister of Civil Aviation, joining us right here on ET Now, hours after he has scripted perhaps the big turnaround for Indian civil aviation. Thank you very much for being with us, sir. This policy was in the making for a very long time. It's finally a reality, so many congratulations to you. But if I were to ask you, as someone who's seen this policy in the making for a while now, what were the big focus areas for you as far as the new civil aviation policy is concerned?
You see, this policy is addressing itself to 22 aspects.
Right.
Now, each aspect cannot be seen in isolation because everything is complementary.
That's right.
We had the good fortune of coming with a draft a few months earlier and we put it in the public domain. Then we got close to about 450 suggestions there. We had an extensive interaction with all the stakeholders, airlines, airports, what have you. So all that we had an extensive consultation, so that was another angle. In this churning processes, a lot of ideas emerged. And even the press were very helpful because they criticized certain ideas, they praised certain ideas. So the reasoning was something very interesting. Then informal consultations with a group of ministers we had. So kind of this churning process, we have learnt a lot.
Right.
And our direction is basically regional connectivity. So keeping that as sacrosanct, we have built a policy around it.
I will come to regional connectivity and getting that last Indian to fly finally in just a bit, and I think you deserve some amount of thumbs up there. But I want to first get the contentious bits out of the way, and 5/20 rule, many people thought is perhaps the most contentious, has divided the industry a lot. The old operators still continue to say they will oppose it. The young ones are happy that you've done away with the archaic law. Was there a lot of pressure from the lobbies at work to keep 5/20, and what convinced you to do away with it?
You see, lobbies will work. So lobbies, they have their own reasoning for it.
Right.
But then ultimately decisions the government has to take in the interest of the country. Now, the similar rule is nowhere in the world.
That's right.
And airlines, yes, those who have crossed the 5-year one, for it's in their advantage not to allow new competition or have a reduced competition. So is that in the interest of the country? This is the question. Now, because of competition, we have become the fastest growing aviation this thing in the world.
That's right, yes.
20-21% is not happened anywhere in the world.
True.
Now, this has happened because of competition. So we need competition to increase. So this 5 years, we decided that it should go. The 20 aircrafts is another angle of it.
Right.
Because we want Indian players to serve Indian skies.
True.
And the Indian people. We don't want like shipping where they have flags of convenience.
That's right.
So that's why we said, okay, anyone who has 20 aircrafts and serves the minimum of so much within the country,
domestic, yes,
they can be permitted to go abroad.
I think it's a very well-intentioned move. You're getting more competition. It's eventually going to help the commuter. But the question really is that a lot of the new operators, say an Air Vistara or an Air Asia, have about 6 or 10 odd aircraft. How long do you think they will take to getting to this 20 so that they can fly overseas?
If they are so interested in flying overseas, then immediately their aircrafts are available on lease worldwide. Not every airline is owning every aircraft that it flies.
That's right.
So leases are available.
So you expect a lot
options are available. So it depends on that thing. And there could be new players also coming in.
Right.
Regional players are visible.
Right.
National players are not that visible now.
True.
So let's hope that there also a visibility comes.
A last question on 5/20, and just to be the devil's advocate for a minute, I think it's a good thing you've done. You've done away with an archaic law. It was nowhere in the world, and it was a lobby at work that wanted that law. But just to be their advocate for a minute, have you changed the rules of the game midway?
You see, what do we mean by midway? Now, this has been there for 10 years. Now, a regulation for the sake of regulation does not make sense. And anything economic, now we have just come out with a policy.
Right.
Things are going to change. So this policy will have to be reviewed after some time.
True.
And have to be updated. In today's scenario, this is what we feel is the best. In tomorrow's scenario, how it will be, let it be decided at that point of time. You need a policy with some type of time definiteness.
Right.
So that economic activity can plan.
And it can't be a policy
for eternity.
Forever. Absolutely. So one of the things, of course, you've got a huge thumbs up for some of the measures, but one of the things that people have voiced concerns over is that why is the government getting involved in deciding fares? You have a cap of 1,300 on a 30-minute flight, a 2,500 on one flight. Don't you think market dynamics should take care of things like these?
Definitely, market dynamics has pushed down the pricing in most places. Now, what is this thing we are talking about? We are talking about a viability gap funding.
That's right, yes.
We are talking about a viability gap funding, and where airlines will get two streams of revenue.
That's right.
One from the passenger and one from the government. Now the scheme is being formulated. So what happens is this scheme will connect unconnected areas. As of today, you have 31, 32 airports which are not connected. No airline ever goes there.
Right.
It's infrastructure there, it's low-hanging fruit. Probably out of them some will cut. Then it takes about 2-3 years for a new route to be stabilized. So it's not even a viability gap funding for eternity.
True.
So the idea is that they have to develop. So some of them will develop. Why are we trying to get state governments on board? Because state governments have a responsibility in the planning processes, in the industrialization of a place, in the harnessing the tourism potential. So they are the best judges.
Will you agree with me that you're in some sense subsidizing air travel for a lot of consumers out there?
Yes, it is a subsidy for a limited purpose of generating a new destination.
Okay.
So what is it that we are feeling? Why this figure of 2,500 has come? Because we feel that the Indian population, those who can afford to fly, are not flying. Say, an average, if you like your passengers, as of today, those who can economically afford it, they are averagely taking a flight once in 5 years.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, if we can reduce that gap to once in a year, which they can economically afford.
You can generate a lot of economy out of this.
The economy will grow, everything will grow, everyone will benefit.
Right.
So that's the idea. So we are working in that direction. And this aviation is a transport industry. So it will contribute to our tourism, our industrialization.
Do you believe this subsidy is also going to be time bound, or is this a subsidy for eternity as well?
This is a subsidy that has to be time bound, has to connect a new destination, an unserved destination, to a served place.
And once it has served its purpose, the subsidy will perhaps cease to exist, because
probably it should cease to exist and should go, because then competition will take care. Of that. So because we find wherever there's capacity added, wherever there's competition, airfares have gone down.
That's right.
In fact, in
and
Parliament,
market dynamics usually take care of things like that. So one of the things in your policy, which is a very good thing, is that you have said that smaller airports need to be developed. There are many airports out there that could be connected and they haven't been. What is going to be the model? Is there a model that you've thought about in your mind? Is this going to be developed by the public sector? Are you going to get the private sector involved? How is this really going to work?
I think the airports will be more in the public sector. Airlines will be more in the private sector.
That's right.
Because it has to be a joint effort. It cannot be a single thing. And airports are basic infrastructure. And non-performing infrastructure would start performing. So
right.
In that sense, it's good for the nation.
You have also very categorically said that TI could be increased from 49% to 74% over a 4-year period, say up till 2020. It's not a suggestion that finds favor in your policy finally. Why have you done away with it?
No, we have not done away with anything. Our finance department decides ultimately what
Right.
FDIs have to be in every
Right.
place. And they have their own reasoning. So if not today, probably tomorrow also the idea can come about. But the main thing for us is that Indian players should serve India. And I think we have not deviated from that.
One of the concerns that the industry has raised is that you allow 100% in MRO, you allow 100% in cargo. Why is it that scheduled carriers cannot have more than 49%? Why this fear of the unknown for civil aviation?
Well,
Too strategic a sector to perhaps open up to?
To me, in the aviation sector, we want Indian players to serve Indian skies.
That's right.
So that's why whatever we want to do, we will promote that way. Now, this has a call on other departments also. So they have to take it for their own reasons. They have not taken it. It's okay.
Personally speaking, are you in favor of higher FDI?
I'm in favor of more airlines coming in, more aircrafts flying in India, connecting more places, promoting Indian aviation, Indian transport, and even cargo.
Mr. Minister, I have a question on MRO, and for a very long time this was in the works. You've finally given a lot of incentives for MRO, India to be an MRO hub. Do you believe the incentives that you've given, which are largely fiscal in nature, will that really take care of the intention that you have in mind to establish India as an MRO hub?
We think it will, because on the skill side, India is second to none in the world. In fact, if you look at MRO industries outside India, a lot of Indians are working there also.
That's true, yes.
So, keeping that aside, the impediment as we understood was coming from taxation. State governments and Government of India. Now, Government of India has addressed their problem of customs, that window of they had of 1 year to 3 years, and small things there. Plus the service tax of airlines to be passed as a passover. They could claim a refund of what they have already paid.
Right.
So I think that will help in bringing the Indian MRO activity back to India. As of now, about you can see more than 90% goes out of the country.
Exactly. And to destinations very close, Colombo for one. But is there a back of the envelope calculation that you have done about the kind of business that can be generated out of this?
I think if Indian players come back to India, that would be, I think, could be close to 5,000 crore.
What of business that could be generated?
Could be generated in India, and that means a lot of jobs and whatever comes out of it.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that continues to be the national carrier Air India. For some strange reason, your policy speaks about a lot of things, but is very conspicuously silent on Air India. Why so?
You see, everybody loves Air India. Air India is a good airline. Everybody loves it. But nobody will commit the taxpayers' money to eternity to be poured down.
That's right, yes.
It's a beautiful airline. It has served India well, and wherever they are able to work as a team, cohesiveness, they have delivered. Even the hardest of situations, which not many airlines can deliver worldwide, Air India has delivered. Their books are bad. So if they continue to work as a cohesive team, stick to the turnaround plan and the financial reconstruction plan, and not allow any slippage, they will survive and come out with flying colors. If they allow it to slip, then I don't think anyone will be really able to help
If
them.
they allow it to slip, has the government done its strategy on what will you do with Air India then? Because privatization seems to be a very taboo word when it comes to the national carrier.
I don't mind privatization. You see, its books are so bad that I'd be surprised if someone wants to buy it today,
Air India.
straight away.
Yes.
So let us be practical. Privatization is not a bad terminology, but we want the airline to survive and serve Indian skies. And if it is privatized, it's okay. If it is run under public sector, it's okay. But this will happen, it will survive if every Air Indian who's connected pulls up his socks and works in the interest of the company.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.